Regarding gardening, the most effective secrets are not usually found in costly tools or advanced methods. Actually, they are very common in the techniques employed by those who produce food without depending on power or modern tools. Let us consider the Amish people. Though they use practically no technology at all, they can generate 6 times more food per acre than contemporary farms. And all of it starts with stuff you would often toss away. 1. The secret on banana peel. Have you ever thrown a banana peel without considering it twice? Well, it's like garden gold, therefore next time you could wish to keep it. Banana peels are prized among Amish people for use in gardens. Potassium, which is exactly what plants need when they are blossoming or producing fruit, is packed in these lowly peels. During difficult times when fertilizers were just too costly, my grandma showed me this approach. Near tomato plants, her family would dig little pits and hide banana peels. The peels gradually delivered potassium straight to the roots as they broke down, therefore enabling the tomatoes to grow larger and better than any others. For this, you only need to save those banana peels. No sophisticated instruments are required. Certain Amish gardeners even dry them up, ground them, and save them for the winter. Others just bury fresh peels approximately 2 to 3 inches deep around fruit-bearing trees. Roses, too, definitely enjoy this treatment. Bushes grown, banana-fed, blossom twice as much as others. Second, coffee ground. Perfect for your plants. Your daily coffee ritual is not just a benefit for you, it also makes sure your plants flourish. Although many Amish households avoid coffee, they have discovered that spent coffee grounds are like a garden's secret weapon, particularly helpful for acid-loving plants like blueberries, azaleas, and rhododendrons are these grounds. These plants exactly need the slightly acidic soils to flourish robust and healthy. Coffee grounds not only contribute acidity but also nitrogen, enhance the texture of your soil, and even help discourage slugs and snails. For hydrangeas specifically, they are rather fantastic. By raising the acidity of the soil, coffee grinds accumulated around hydrangeas can actually heighten the blue hue of the blossoms. Some gardeners even use coffee grounds for more reasonably priced commercial soil acidifiers. In 3. The trick with cardboard. You could find something odd walking across an Amish garden. Cardboard sheets placed around or between rows of plants. Though it looks like a half-finished effort, this is a really great gardening tip. This method improves soil condition while cutting weeding time. Before putting it down, the Amish gather cardboard from nearby stores, who are usually pleased to donate it, and cut the tape and staples off. They then cover it with a light mulch layer. The cardboard filters sunlight, therefore dying off current weeds and stopping new ones from sprouting. It also helps hold moisture, therefore reducing water requirements. And earthworms really enjoy cardboard. They help break down the damp environment under them, therefore enhancing the soil. One growing season finds a covering of cardboard entirely gone, leaving your soil better than ever. It needs little effort and functions as almost a natural composting system. 4. Amish style. Composting. Gardening from lasagna. Although most people believe composting calls for a lot of effort, turning mounds, straining over a pitchfork, the Amish method is far easier. They have developed a technique known as lasagna gardening, a no-turn composting system whereby yard trash and culinary scraps are transformed into rich, fertile ground. Amish gardeners create theirs in flat, horizontal strata rather than one big compost heap. They alternate brown, carbon-rich materials, such as dried leaves and straw, with green, nitrogen-rich resources, such as fresh grass clippings and kitchen wastes. The magic exists in the equilibrium. You have little to do. Nature looks after everything else. While most Americans toss things like eggshells, coffee filters, and rough cabbage leaves, Amish gardeners value these objects. To stop blossom end rot in tomatoes, crushed eggshells supply calcium. Even onion skins contain nutrients that assist plants fight illness. 5. Ash from a fireplace. In Amish houses, wood-burning stoves and fireplaces are not just for providing heat, but also a great supply of plant fertilizers. Both potassium and calcium found in the ashes these flames create are vital for good plant development. Amish gardeners gather these ashes rather than discarding them and apply them on their garden beds, on fruit trees, even in compost piles. Tomatoes might benefit from a thin coating of wood ash as it helps avoid calcium deficits. Sprinkled around apple trees, the potassium improves fruit flavour and quality. For acid-loving plants such as blueberries or rhododendrons, however, wood ash is alkaline and not best. Too much wood ash can interfere with their nutritional absorption and cause poor development and yellowing of the leaves. 6 is the Three Sisters method. Native American tribes had mastered a planting strategy known as the Three Sisters, which Amish farmers adopted long before European immigrants arrived. This approach calls for planting maize, beans, and squash simultaneously in a way that benefits all three. The long corn stalks function as naturally occurring trellises for the beans to ascend. Since beans are legumes, they draw nitrogen from the atmosphere and translate it into a nutrient that feeds all three plants. Squash spreads out on the ground to provide live mulch that shades the ground, holds moisture, and inhibits weeds. Additionally, deterring animals like raccoons from the corn are the spiky stems of squash. Selecting the appropriate variants of every plant will help you to obtain the greatest outcomes. For instance, traditional types of maize, beans, and squash usually complement each other better than contemporary sweet corn or aggressive zucchini. In 7. Using square-foot gardening helps to maximize space. One innovative approach helping Amish households make best use of their agricultural area is square-foot gardening. This method drastically reduces weeding time and lets you raise 4 times as many plants in the same space. Simply divide your garden into 1-foot squares and plant each one, depending on their size, a designated number of plants. You may sow 1 tomato every square, for instance, but 16 radishes in the same area. Eliminating conventional rows lets you maximize every square inch of ground. Plants grown closely together naturally mulch their leaves, which shade the ground and stop weeds from starting. Although commercial farmers would laugh at this approach since they say it's ineffective, the statistics tell otherwise. In one season, a 4-by-4-foot garden bed may generate more than 200 pounds of veggies. The 8th is sunflower placement strategies. Sunflowers have a strategic purpose in Amish gardens. Not only look great, sunflowers on the north side of your garden will shade heat-sensitive vegetables like lettuce and spinach. This natural shade keeps these crops productive weeks longer into summer, therefore extending their growth season. Strong attractor for pollinators are sunflowers as well. Once in your garden, bees, butterflies, and other helpful insects swarm to their pollen and nectar and will stay to poll everything else. Actually, evidence from Amish test gardens reveals that tomatoes grown next to sunflowers yield 27% more fruit than those grown without sunflower partners. The 9th is the early-late double harvest. When you could have 2 from the same area, why would you settle for just 1 harvest? Mastery of succession planting has let Amish gardeners produce 2 separate harvests in one growing season. The secret is to match slow-growing crops with fast-maturing ones. You may, for instance, sow peas in the spring and pick them early in July. You may then plant beans in the same area and gather them fall-time. This method may be applied all around the garden. Some Amish families have reported amazing yields, more than 700 pounds of food from a little area less than an ordinary living room. 10. Upward growing. Although it's not commonly seen in Amish gardens, the vertical space is rather revolutionary. Simple wooden trellises or even handcrafted A-frames created from salvaged wood or clipped tree branches may transform fences and garden walls into useful growing space. For crops, including peas, beans, cucumbers, and even tiny melons, this is the ideal approach. Growing vertically opens ground area for leafy greens and root crops. Furthermore, the fruits produced on these constructions are usually straighter than those grown on the ground, cleaner and simpler to pick. Particularly in little gardens, this approach works miracles. 11. Amish barrels. On Amish homesteads, you commonly see wooden rain barrels hidden under downspouts. These basic mechanisms enable the harvesting of a priceless resource: rainwater. 1 inch of rain on a 1,000 square foot roof may produce about 600 gallons of water, did you know? Amish gardeners gather that water runs in barrels for use in the garden, rather than allowing it flow into storm drains. Since rainwater devoid of chlorine and other pollutants present in city water makes it perfect for plants. It's also somewhat acidic, which is ideal for blueberries and other plants that enjoy acids. Rain barrel systems can assist minimize municipal water demand during dry seasons by up to 80%, therefore lowering water costs, cause the bugs to die and get dehydrated. This is a really good natural option as it operates without damaging beneficial insects or plants. Rich in silica and sold in several grades, diatomaceous earth, DE, is a common form of this powder. Amish gardeners typically harvest it locally or produce their own. This approach is better for dry weather or early morning gardening before humidity rises, as moisture lessens the powder's efficacy. Other Amish garden advice: companion planting for controlling pests. Amish gardeners employ certain plants' inherent abilities to defend others from pests. Marigolds, for instance, help to discourage aphids and other damaging insects when planted next to tomatoes. Likewise, when grown next to cucumbers, basil can help ward against insects. Apart from helping one another with insect control, these plants improve the general garden ecology. Rotation through crops. Amish gardeners take great care to rotate their crops in order to control pests and stop soil degradation. They steer clear of growing the same family of plants, that of the nightshade family, that includes tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants in the same area year after year. Alternating plant kinds helps to preserve better soil and lower the build-up of pests or illnesses specifically targeted at particular crops. Hand polling. Although most people depend on bees to poll their gardens, Amish farmers raising vegetables like cucumbers or squash may personally help with the process. They move pollen from male to female flowers using a basic paintbrush, therefore assuring improved fruit set in places where pollinator numbers can be limited. Making use of horse manure. Often raising horses, Amish farmers find great value in their manure. Particularly nutrient-dense, horse manure is a perfect addition to compost piles or a straight soil supplement. Without synthetic fertilizers, it gives a consistent release of nutrients and enhances soil structure. Natural fungus and mildew sprays. Apart from garlic sprays, Amish gardeners sometimes fight fungal infections and mildew using homemade medicines. On cucumbers or squash, a basic baking soda spray diluted with water and a little vegetable oil will help fight powdery mildew. Another cure calls for neem oil, which, without strong chemicals, helps control a range of fungal and insect problems. Planting strategically for seasonal extension. Although most people plant spring crops, Amish gardeners can stretch their growing season by utilizing early crops like spinach or lettuce to take advantage of early spring, followed by more heat-tolerant crops like tomatoes or maize once the weather warms. Midsummer, they plant fall cabbage, kale, and winter squash to guarantee a steady supply into late fall or early winter. Homemade weed killers. Purchasing pricey weed killers is not a choice available to Amish gardeners. Rather, they tackle weeds with homemade natural remedies, including a vinegar-based spray. Vinegar's acetic acid kills undesired plants by desiccating their leaves, therefore providing a basic, efficient substitute for commercial herbicides. The Amish gardening philosophy. Deep respect of nature's cycles and a dedication to simplicity and sustainability define Amish gardening methods from their core. Understanding and engaging with natural processes takes front stage instead of high-tech answers or shortcuts. Every instrument, tool, and approach is rooted in thrift, economy, and a want to sustainably feed the land, the plants, and the society. These gardening techniques are evidence that, given imagination, ingenuity, and a little patience, it is feasible to produce enough of healthful food without depending on contemporary, high-tech approaches. Anyone wishing to create a more sustainable and successful garden may learn a great deal from the Amish method of gardening. These techniques, which range from composting to companion planting to the deliberate use of natural resources like cardboard, banana peels, and rainwater, showcase how even little modifications in our approach to gardening could provide more profitable and environmentally responsible outcomes. Plus straw. Even at freezing temperature, the heat generated by the breakdown process warms the soil in a way that encourages early plant development. Amish gardeners still employ this method, mainly for early spring crops like lettuce, spinach, or radishes. The procedure begins with a layer of fresh manure, then coated to insulate the heat with straw or compost. As the manure breaks down over time, it generates heat into the soil above, therefore fostering early development and accelerating seed germination. Creating a hotbed calls for exacting attention to materials and placement. Because it creates greater heat during the breakdown process, the manure should be fresh rather than old. To retain the heat, a thick layer of straw or hay is spread on top following the manure layer. Usually constructed of wood, a frame covers the bed, and a glass cover or window is positioned on top to trap warmth and let sunshine in. Even in frigid weather, the warmth from the decaying manure increases the soil temperature by around 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, therefore creating a mini greenhouse effect. For Amish gardeners in northern locations with short growing seasons, hotbeds do exceptionally well. Using this low-tech approach allows them to prolong the growing season, therefore providing a head start for veggies that would otherwise have to wait till higher temperatures. Usually starting seedlings in early spring, ready for transplanting into the garden after the risk of frost has gone, the method is very successful. The way the Amish people live shows clearly their dedication to sustainability and resourcefulness, as well as to their gardening techniques. Their farming approaches are based on the ideas of cutting waste, reusing resources, and depending on natural ways instead of contemporary technology. For cold frames, for instance, the use of recovered windows or recycled plastic bottles and other materials for shelters to safeguard diatomaceous earth shows their inventiveness in developing reasonably priced, ecologically beneficial solutions. Furthermore, the Amish emphasis on seed saving, communal information sharing, and preserving historical kinds of crops guarantees that their agricultural methods stay varied, strong, and flexible enough to fit evolving situations. Using regionally suited species guarantees that gardeners are less dependent on monocultures or genetically engineered seeds, which can be more subject to pests and diseases, therefore promoting biodiversity. Amish gardeners keep a connection to the land and the seasons by means of basic but successful methods include hand pollination, natural pest management, and the use of traditional equipment. In any setting, these time-honoured customs are rather significant lessons for gardeners and farmers as they help conserve local food systems, lower reliance on outside inputs, and encourage self-sufficiency. More conventional methods. Water conservation made possible by ceramic pots. We also covered how Amish gardeners irrigate buried ceramic pots. Watering plants over long stretches, especially in dry seasons, is done using the same method. Unglazed pottery's porous character makes it a great source of gradual, deep watering solution. For those seeking environmentally friendly means of irrigation without depending on contemporary infrastructure, this approach is perfect even without pumps or power. Precision gardening using old tools. Although many gardeners use contemporary equipment such as mechanized tillers and automated systems, Amish gardeners frequently prefer employing more traditional, more exact instruments. Still extensively utilized in Amish gardens are handheld hoes, rakes, and spades. These instruments let one have better control over the earth, therefore decreasing soil compaction and avoiding disturbance of important species there. Using hand seeders and planters also helps Amish gardeners lower their carbon footprint and maintain more close ties to nature in their methods. Beekeeping for honey and pollination. Not only does the Amish make honey, but they also maintain bees to improve the fertilization of their fields. Many fruits and vegetables depend on bees for pollination. Hence, Amish farmers see the need of maintaining a good population of bees in their gardens. Apart from helping plants flourish, the honey created is a natural sweetener for their cuisine. The wax finds use in candle making, soaps, and other handcrafted goods. Animal manures, natural fertilizers. Apart from the hotbed horse dung, Amish gardeners mostly depend on animal waste for fertilizing their fields. Commonly utilized to improve the soil include manure from chicken, cow, and pigs, often initially used as a slow-release source of nutrients, and, to lower the possibility of burning plants, they are composted first. Manure is also sometimes combined with straw or leaves to make a rich, organic compost that enhances soil texture and promotes microbial activity. Winter crop storage. Amish families are also quite adept at winter food storage. While some vegetables like squash and pumpkins may be kept in well-ventilated areas, others like potatoes, carrots, and onions are generally kept in cold, dark root cellars. To guarantee a consistent food supply all year long, they also learn canning, drying, and preservation techniques. Over decades, Amish people have honed these techniques, depending on them to make food available when most needed. The methods Amish gardeners employ emphasize the need of simplicity and a thorough awareness of natural processes, avoiding depending on contemporary technology and instead concentrating on organic methods, sustainability, and resourcefulness. They have created rather efficient and ecologically beneficial gardening techniques. These approaches demonstrate how dependable and sustainable traditional knowledge and time-tested approaches can be for raising food and tending to the land even in the face of contemporary problems. Spells and gradually feeds the plant's nourishment. Heat produced during the decomposition process can also promote early-season plant development and assist to stretch the growing period into the colder months. Hugel culture beds are very helpful for gardeners who wish to reduce the demand for irrigation systems and chemical fertilizers, as over time they may provide a quite rich and sustainable growing environment. Key advantages of Hugel culture. The decaying wood in Hugel culture beds absorbs and stores moisture, therefore lessening the need for regular watering during dry times. Natural enrichment of the soil comes from the nutrients released by the breaking of wood. As the organic matter breaks down gradually, this process can last for several years. Hugel culture beds' mulch and organic content can help to control weeds, therefore lessening the need for ongoing maintenance. Temperature control. The breakdown process produces heat, therefore fostering early plant development and providing protection against cold. The potato tie method. The inventive and space-saving potato tire method lets gardeners maximize harvests by growing potatoes in a small area, therefore limiting the impact of the garden. Stacking tires as the potato plants develop generates several levels of soil, each allowing potatoes room to flourish. This approach works because tubers develop along buried stems of potato plants. Adding more tires and soil as the plant develops helps more roots and tubers to develop, therefore increasing the output from a small space. Techniques for using the potato tire approach: start with 1 tire, grind it, load it with soil, then plant 3 or 4 seed potatoes. As the plants get approximately 8 inches tall, lay another tire on top of the first and fill it with additional dirt, hiding the new development save from the top leaves. As the plants climb, keep piling tires and stuffing them with dirt. Every strata of buried stems will generate new potatoes and roots. Harvest. 1 by 1. Removal of the tires reveals a wealth of potatoes from every level of the stack when the plants are completely developed and the foliage begins to fall back. For gardeners with limited land, the approach may produce amazing harvests. Only a few tire stacks will produce enough potatoes to survive the whole winter. Sustainable garden design. The Amish also consider possible adverse weather occurrences in their garden plans, therefore adding resilience. Planning for both droughts and floods helps them to make sure their gardens flourish even in difficult circumstances. This careful strategy designs gardens in zones according to the water requirements and sensitivity to weather of the plants. Resilient garden design. Fundamental ideas. Water management calls for putting drought-tolerant plants on higher land that drains fast and moisture-loving plants in low places that retain water. Shallow ditches run following land contours to gather and distribute significant rainfall to places most in use, therefore preventing soil erosion and waterlogging. Raised beds let plants in flood-prone regions escape standing water. Physical barriers like windbreaks or well-positioned trees and bushes can shield fragile plants from severe winds and storms. This kind of design guarantees that some areas of the garden will keep producing even in severe weather, therefore supplying a more consistent food source. The Amish are also quite good in processing vast amounts of product quickly and precisely. They coordinate their harvest. Planting crops that develop together helps to harvest everything at once, therefore saving processing time and effort. Often referred to as canning day, this coordinated strategy sees family members working assembly line to prepare and preserve food. Families processing hundreds of pounds of tomatoes or other crops on canning day could create sauces, salsas, and other preserved foods. This approach guarantees effective use of resources and energy, therefore ensuring that fuel for boiling water is utilised. The social component of the process makes it a family legacy as well, transforming what might appear like a task into a group activity. Systems for solar dehydration. To save their crops without running power, Amish gardeners also depend on solar dehydration devices. Often built from waste materials, these basic wooden dehydrators use solar energy to dry fruits and vegetables, therefore enabling months of storage free from refrigeration. These dehydrators include dark inside to absorb heat and a glass top to let sunlight in. Additionally included in the system are vents designed to generate air circulation, which aids in food moisture removal. Foods such as tomatoes, apples, herbs, and other fruits and vegetables hold great preservation value using this approach. The end effect is tasty, nutrient-dense dried foods that keep well without using chemicals or power over extended times. Salt preservation. One of the main ways food was kept for the winter before refrigeration was salting. For vegetables like green beans, cabbage, and turnips especially, Amish gardeners still apply salt preservation methods today. Salt helps to preserve food for long-term storage and pulls moisture out of it, therefore preventing an environment in which germs can flourish. Green beans, for instance, can be salted then air-dried until they become leathery. Soaked before cooking, these leather brights provide a concentrated, strong taste. Like turnips and cabbage, Root vegetables may be packed in salt and fermented to produce lacto-fermented meals like sauerkraut, which not only preserves the veggies, but also boosts their nutritional value by include helpful microbes. Lactoferment? Still used by Amish people, lacto-fermentation is a basic yet effective preservation technique. Vegetables packed in jars with salt and water start to ferment naturally, generating tangy tastes and helpful probiotics from their natural bacteria. Unlike vinegar pickling, which depends on acid, lacto-fermentation employs salt to provide an environment that supports the growth of lactobacillus bacteria, therefore preserving the food and increasing its nutritional value. Lacto-fermented vegetables, including pickles or sauerkraut, acquire sophisticated tastes and keep well over extended periods. Simply pack veggies into jars, add a salt brine, and let nature handle things. The ultimate effect is a dish that not only tastes great but also helps digestion. Emphasizing sustainability, creativity, and simplicity, the Amish method of food preservation and gardening stresses. Using time-tested methods include hotbeds, cold frames, sun dehydrators, and lacto-fermentation helps them to cultivate, preserve, and store food in a very effective and ecologically responsible manner. Gardeners and homesteaders trying to reduce their reliance on contemporary technology while generating robust, healthful food might find great lessons in these techniques. Strong Amish yards. Amish gardeners guarantee that their soil is nutrient-rich by employing old manure, therefore avoiding the possibility of burning plants or bringing dangerous infections into it. This approach improves soil health year after year and lowers dependency on synthetic fertilizers, therefore promoting environmental sustainability as well as economy. Main advantages of manure for Amish gardening. Manure, especially horse and cow manure, helps to enhance the texture and structure of the soil. It improves soil aeration and drainage, therefore enabling deeper and more robust growth from plant roots. Aged manure offers a regular, slow release of nutrients that helps plants develop at a consistent pace. Released over time, the nutrients lower the likelihood of nutrient runoff and offer long-term advantages. Regular manure treatments help gardens to produce notably higher food harvests, especially when paired with other methods like composting. This natural fertilizer approach can provide doubled or even treble yields. Applying manure in the fall helps the winter freezing and thawing cycle to further break down the substance, therefore enhancing the soil before spring planting. This provides plants with a nutrient-dense surroundings immediately from the beginning of the growth season. Manure styles and applications. High in nitrogen, chicken manure is perfect for plants like leafy greens that need for plenty of nutrients. To prevent burning plants, though, it is rather strong and must be aged or composted before application. Excellent for enhancing soil structure and offers a balanced combination of nutrients, horse manure. Since most plants benefit from horse dung and it is readily available, Amish gardens commonly feature it. Cow dung. Around delicate plants like tomatoes and peppers, cow dung can be applied more liberally even if its nutritional richness is lower. Over time, it enhances soil texture and is mild on plants and the ground. Value of appropriate aging. Aging manure before use is one of the most crucial factors in Amish gardeners' use of it. Fresh manure may include dangerous microorganisms that might compromise soil health and plant development, and can be too powerful for some plants, damaging them. Manure aged for 6 to 12 months guarantees it has broken down enough to be suitable for usage. While the manure breaks down and loses its harshness during this period, it also lets the helpful bacteria grow. Integration of manures and compost. Oftentimes, the Amish method of using manure aligns with composting. Layering manure with compost and other organic materials helps gardeners produce a rich, nutritious soil amendment that enhances soil structure, moisture retention, and drainage, in addition to supplies. Nutrients. Manure and compost used together provide appropriate nutrients for plants and over time helps create strong, healthy soil. Thermal mass heating in greenhouses. Apart from conventional techniques of soil fertility, Amish gardeners also make use of thermal mass heating devices to maintain their greenhouses warm in the winter without using any kind of power. This passive solar heating system is based on the straightforward idea: water, stone, and other materials collect heat during the day and gradually release it at night, therefore providing a stable habitat for plants. The mechanism. Big black water-filled barrels painted capture sun energy all day. The water gradually releases the trapped heat as the sun sets, therefore preserving a constant temperature within the greenhouse. Stone or brick paths likewise retain heat during the day and gradually release it when temperatures cool. This increases the greenhouse's thermal bulk and aids in evening freezing prevention. Compost. Heat may be produced even by the breakdown of heaps within a greenhouse. Active composting's heat helps to provide a frost-free environment, thereby enabling plants to keep growing even in frigid outside temperatures. In Amish villages, these passive heating systems have shown to be quite successful in maintaining greenhouses warm without using expensive electric heaters or fuel. These systems' minimal running costs make them an economically feasible and ecologically benign way to extend the growing season. Herm spirals. Another instance of Amish gardeners' creative space-saving technique are herb spirals. These spiral-shaped mounds maximize space by allowing a range of herbs to grow in a small area, therefore generating several microclimates depending on height, direction, and drainage. Advantages of herb spirals. Herbs in a wide spectrum may be accommodated in a compact footprint by a herb spiral, therefore enabling gardeners to grow more in less area. Microclimates. The spiral's several heights produce diverse growth environments. Mediterranean herbs like rosemary and thyme would find the drier, warmer top of the spiral ideal. Mint and other moisture-loving plants would find the bottom, colder and damper ideal. The spiral shape guarantees that every plant is within arm's reach from the root, therefore reducing the necessity for bending or reaching during harvest. Besides saving space, herb spirals provide a garden beauty and purpose. Many Amish gardens have them close to kitchen doors, therefore offering simple access to fresh herbs for cooking. Important garden keyholes. Another clever design that makes best use of space and reduces walking distance in a garden are keyhole gardens. By letting gardeners reach all plants without walking on the ground, the circular beds with keyhole form help to preserve soil health by minimizing compaction. How it gets started. The central keyhole cut of keyhole design results in a little composting basket in the middle of the bed. Added to this basket, kitchen waste break down and nourish the surrounding flora. Water sprayed into the composting basket irrigates the whole bed, guaranteeing consistent moisture distribution across the garden. Thanks to their integrated composting and watering system, keyhole gardens may generate 30 to 40% more vegetables than conventional rows in the same volume. In places where water, space, and energy economy are top concerns, keyhole gardens especially provide value. While cutting labour and resource usage, they may generate a bountiful yield and are easy to manage. Sustainability, creativity, and resourcefulness define the Amish attitude to farming and gardening. From using natural fertilizers like aged manure to include space-saving strategies like herb spirals and keyhole gardens, these approaches guarantee great yields and resilience while reducing the need for contemporary technology. These time-tested techniques offer insightful insights on designing sustainable, effective gardens that may flourish with few inputs. Amish gardeners show the value of simplicity and care in creating food and preserving soil health by composting, thermal mass heating, or well-chosen manure treatments. These 50 Amish gardening ideas show how creatively low maintenance, highly productive gardens can be created from knowledge of nature, ingenuity, and tradition. Every approach shows how Amish farmers use the land rather than imposing contemporary industrial techniques, therefore combining sustainability with pragmatism. Here is a closer examination at a few of the main techniques described. Either dig or not. Dig deep soil. Preparation. In compacted soils, deep digging, 18 to 24 inches, performs effectively to let roots reach far, so increasing the availability to nutrients and moisture. Often, less disruptive techniques are used for maintenance following this first effort. No-dig methods protect the subterranean ecology for established gardens with good soil. Just putting compost and mulch to the surface can help beneficial bacteria, worms, and fungus organically mix into the ground, therefore saving work and preserving the soil structure. Long-term maintenance is welcomed with this smarter, not harder strategy. Sort crops. Amish gardeners cover crops such buckwheat, rye, and clover following harvest to preserve the soil for the off-season. By contributing organic matter, these crops enhance soil health, aid to avoid soil erosion, and control weeds. Particularly, winter rye is well recognised for loosening up compacted soil and encouraging earthworm activity, hence producing workable, crumbly ground by spring. Soaker hose devices. Simple soaker hose systems feed water straight to plant roots, therefore lowering evaporation. Mulch covers these hoses so that water reaches the roots directly without moistening the leaves, therefore preventing disease. Common, low-maintenance arrangement in Amish gardens is gravity-fed soaker systems running on rainwater gathered from rooftops. Chickens. Pest management. Many Amish gardeners release hens into garden spaces either before or after harvest as pest control. As they scratch and peck, chickens help sweep away insect pests such grubs and beetles, and their dung fertilizes the ground. Some families employ movable chicken tractors to concentrate the efforts of the hens on certain areas of the garden, therefore offering fresh eggs simultaneously with natural pest management. Marigolds for control of pests. Marigolds are grown not just for their appearance, but also for their capacity to ward against pests including aphids, whiteflies, and nematodes. Their smell serves as a deterrent, and they draw helpful insects such ladybugs, which consume garden pests. Marigolds placed deliberately all around the yard can provide a barrier against several dangerous insects. Preservation. Through fermentation. Amish gardeners frequently preserve crops including cabbage, sauerkraut, cucumbers, pickles, and green beans by fermenting rather than depending on power or canning equipment. This method uses good bacteria to improve the taste and nutritional worth of the food while preserving it. Many Amish groups also note less digestive problems, as fermented meals often include probiotics that enhance digestive health. Phase planting in moon phases. Amish gardeners follow the phases of the moon in their agricultural planting based on old knowledge. Their attention is on above-ground crops during the waxing moon, as the rising light and gravitational force encourage seed germination and foliage development. They pay more attention to root crops like potatoes and carrots during the declining moon. Though scientific explanation is still under development, some gardeners have found higher harvests when planting in line with the moon. Newspapers. Seedling pots. Amish gardeners design their own biodegradable pots using newspaper rather of plastic ones. As these pots break down in the earth, they add organic materials. The newspaper's porous structure lets roots develop through it free from binding, therefore guaranteeing better seedlings. Only ordinary newspaper is utilised, therefore avoiding the chemicals included in glossy magazine pages. Practice efficiency and sustainability. These methods illustrate how creatively Amish gardeners maximise their resources. They concentrate on working with the surroundings, applying basic, cheap equipment and building systems needing little intervention. Together with producing good crops, this mix of conventional knowledge and useful application promotes long-term sustainability. These gardening techniques show that using what nature offers, such as soil quality, rainfall, or even chickens, growing more food with less effort, is feasible without depending on sophisticated tools, synthetic fertilizers, or pesticides. Main learning points. Once the ground is ready, less digging and more efficiency assist to preserve its condition with little effort. Cover crops help to protect, feed, and enrich the soil during the off-season, therefore lowering erosion and raising fertility. Soaker hoses and gravity-fed systems help to reduce water waste and guarantee continuous hydration for plants. Chickens and marigolds improve garden health by being low-cost, natural substitutes for insecticides. Fermentation is a simple and efficient method of storing extra food without refrigeration or specific tools. Planting in line with the moon cycle could boost crop success and production. Making biodegradable pots from newspaper is one way to help plants flourish while cutting trash. Amish gardeners are a potent example of low-tech, sustainable, low-tech horticulture that works with rather than against nature, as they have refined these methods over centuries.